Sometimes it's the roads less travelled that are the most interesting ones. Having driven many of the main highways throughout the Pilbara over the last few years, I've got to say that it's always when you leave the well-trodden path that you find the treasure. And that's where our story starts today. With limited time left for adventuring in the northwest of Australia and staring down the barrel of another hot, wet season, we've decided to answer the question we've often asked ourselves: what's down the hillside Woodstock Road? Of course, you can see for yourself on Google Maps or satellite view, but there is something quite different to experiencing firsthand the energy of the environment. For what is largely a flat and barren landscape, we're always surprised at just how much more interest these quieter roads offer the traveller as they weave their way through mountain ranges and across dried up creek beds. This is where the outback really comes alive. We're treated to about 70 kilometres or so of blacktop laid for the Mount Webber mine before finding our way onto gravel road and the start of adventure. We know that the road will take us to the town of Pilbara, a place with the honour of being Australia's hottest town. We've been here before and we're quite surprised not only at how much there is to explore in the region, but also how green and shady the township is. After being surrounded by so much red dirt, it is always really surprising just how much your nervous system craves greenery out here. I guess that's just the way we're wired. A lush landscape really activates that primitive part of the brain by promising food and shelter. Our destination for the evening of off-grid camping is the not-so-secret World War II air base, Corruna Downs, to the south of Pilbara. If you saw our previous video on the region, you'll see we camped high on a hill overlooking the desert. This time we decide to park in one of the bunkers for the night in the hope that the earth walls will provide some protection from the ever-present wind. This is an amazing place to view the night sky and to have our first night in Olive, our new to us pod camper. There isn't a lot left from the airstrip days, but it's an interesting place to visit and we had it all to ourselves. The road in was a bit more rough than we remember, which may have been why, but this kind of solitude is rare these days. So I talked before about treasure, and in this part of the country many come seeking just that. About 100 kilometres to the south of Pilbara is the town of Nullagine, which many gold prospectors use as a base between prospecting swings. On our previous visit, we took the Skull Springs Road east of Nullagine to a place called Running Waters. The Skull Springs Road itself was quite interesting, but we felt we only needed to do that once. It's about 130 kilometres and took us all day last time. At the end of the tourist season and just before the summer, it's probably in worse condition this time if Wiki Camps is anything to go by. So we opted to go via the blacktop this time. We were on a mission. We were in search of a different sort of treasure, one which might, to some, be more precious than gold. In the Australian outback, this is water. More precisely, a tropical oasis with plenty of shade and a thermal spring. Not what you'd expect in the eastern Pilbara, a rough 450 kilometres from the coast. Running Waters is a bit of a mission to get to, and for some reason, known only to our slightly younger selves, last time we were here we camped the night but didn't go looking for the river itself. Call it delirium from a day on the Skull Springs Road, but it seemed a rather swampy track in, as we literally hadn't seen anyone all day. We didn't like the idea of getting bogged with no help. Of course, it wasn't till after we got home that we realised what we'd missed out on, and that's what we're back to discover this time. And truly, I think anyone would be hard-pressed to believe this magical wonderland both exists and that you can actually have it all to yourself. Again, referring back to Wiki Camps, I think many people did what we did on our previous trip and turned back at either the dodgy track through the trees or maybe what appeared as a dry rocky riverbed. But if you set up camp and walk the short distance in and keep walking until you find the actual river, you hit gold. Now, I think that some people have gotten their caravans all the way in and camped on the banks of the river, but with the amounts of water that come through here in the wet season each year, the conditions can change hugely. Even the track to the camping spot was a lot more rugged than on our last visit. Just as with Running Waters, the conditions at Dolina had changed since our last visit, so we decided to visit the alternative campground at Coongan Pools, which is over the other side of the Marble Bar Road. It's a bit tricky to find as it isn't signposted, but Wiki Camps will help you find it, as will the helpful people at the Marble Bar Information Centre. Just remember to download all your maps before leaving town. Be the first to hear when our latest video is released by subscribing, clicking the notification bell and giving us a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.